I was still so conditioned to believe that what somebody else thought was the right thing for me was the path I should follow. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, what I want to talk about is how committing to experimenting is also a completely valid type of commitment. What I mean by that is, a lot of us have this understanding of commitment that you can only commit and then you just kind of stay the same once you've made that commitment. That's the working definition of commitment. And I don't actually think that's the case. I think instead, there's a lot of change in it, because each day you have to commit again for anything that matters, whether it's your job, whether it's your school, whether it's your personal development, whether it's your relationships, your friendships, your romantic relationships. Each of these areas requires constantly committing, constantly asking yourself, hey, am I willing to put in what it takes to make this area of my life grow? And so because of that, commitment isn't the same as stagnancy. It isn't the same as keeping things the same. It isn't any of that. It does encompass a lot of change, a lot of growth within yourself to stay committed. In the context of my own life, I feel like this last year I have been all over the place. I started off in San Francisco. I moved over to Texas. And then we were there for a few months and then decided that wasn't going to be our for now place, and then we came to New York. All throughout that, there has been a lot of change involved. And I felt a little bit bad because I thought, why can't I just commit to a place? Why can't I just lay down roots and just stay for a second? And then I did a little bit of introspection and I realized where I am in my life, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to experiment. I'm trying to figure things out for myself. I didn't have the opportunity to do that in my 20s because during that decade of my life, I was still so conditioned to believe that what somebody else thought was the right thing for me was the path I should follow, that my values were secondary to the values that other people thought were important. So it took a long time to break free from that kind of conditioning. It took a long time to feel valuable enough within myself to say, I want to decide what my life will look like. I want to decide what kind of path I want to take. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm so ready to do that. But the thing is, before we commit to anything in the classic sense of the word, that this is the area we're going to stay in, exploration and experimentation are key. They're so vital because that's exactly what can make us feel like the decision we come upon is the right decision for us. Let me give you an example. When I was 21 years old, this proposal came through me, a marriage proposal. So my background is South Asian. I'll talk more about that in another video, the story of how that proposal went down. It was a non-starter. So the proposal came and I briefly considered it, not in any serious way because I knew that I wasn't going to get married so early, but I did briefly consider it because it represented all of these things that I felt I had never gotten in my family growing up. I'd never gotten stability and sameness. There was just this constant turmoil, and I didn't want that. So it seemed nice. And also it seemed like the path of least resistance. You marry someone your parents pick out for you, and then that's that. But I knew deep in my heart that my life needed a lot more experimentation, a lot more exploration. So I said no. I don't think the decision seemed, surprising to anybody. I think everybody assumed it was an inevitable no. But that occurrence did make me think, and it still makes me think all these years later, that I chose experimentation. So maybe I didn't want to acknowledge it to myself, but I had committed to exploring my life, my choices, and growing. In the context of other people's lives, I think people are so afraid of making the wrong choice or going down a path that wasn't the best path, or facing social ostracism, which is very real. Shame-based conformity is such a huge thing in cultures across the world, and even this one. Even very progressive Western cultures do this. So it's very challenging to find the strength in yourself to say, hey, you know what, I would like to explore. I would like to commit to not knowing how to do things and learning how to do them. That's huge. So if we want to get poetic, committing to exploration, committing to learning, it's actually an act of revolution because you're taking a chance on yourself. You don't know what the end looks like. You don't know what the path looks like. There's a lot of uncertainty. Even if we have all of the milestones and the markers from somebody else's journey, they aren't going to perfectly overlay onto ours. They just can't. Each of us is very unique in that sense. So there will be differences. So when you commit to exploring, to growing, to learning, you are saying, I have enough faith in myself that I will be able to do this, that I will be able to figure things out, that it won't break me, it won't knock me into the void. The caveat here is, don't make obviously bad decisions. Don't do things that are just insanely toxic for you. But hey, sometimes we need to even go down those rocky roads to figure out why we are engaging in certain toxic behavior patterns, why we are hanging around certain people who aren't good for us, who bring out things in us that we don't want to see. So all of it, all of our journey, it is a form of learning. It just is. If you take anything away from this video, I hope it's that committing to exploration, committing to growth, it involves a lot of change. So commitment isn't about staying stagnant. It isn't about finding a little place where you can stay exactly the same. It is about choosing over and over and over again to do something. And that in itself requires a great deal of faith in you. That's what's awesome about it. Anyway, that's all for today. Until next time. Oh, hi! For more content from Rebecca Writes, please subscribe below, and you can watch my next video somewhere here too. I don't